run out yet, so I do believe I'm winning. For all the mess I was am and will be continuing, and the fun is only beginning. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Hello and welcome to Don't Bury the Lead. We recap WWE Smackdown every Saturday night, but tonight is a unique night. We're doing another Wednesday show. We got a lot of traction last week on Wednesday, so I said, let's try it again. My name is Johnson Dell. I'm joined by Dom Scarcella. Dom, go ahead and tell the people a little bit about yourself.
It's the post-WrestleMania SmackDown show. These are always a little different. Are we grading on a curve? Let's find out. John, don't bury the lead. What's our top story from WWE SmackDown for Friday, April 25th, 2025?
Dom, we don't ever bury the lead. And the lead is a wild TLC match, table, ladder, chair, tag team match between Motor City Machine Guns, DIY, and Street Profits. And the Street Profits are victorious. They gave this one a ton of time, Dom. We didn't have any commercial breaks. What did you think of this main event with the Street Profits retaining?
Messy, but you expected in a TLC match with the ladder stipulation that you've got to go up and climb the belts. I thought this was going to be a train wreck going into it. But after watching it, it's men's match of the year on SmackDown. This is the thing that something else is going to have to beat for the next 8 months of the year if we do our year-end awards again for SmackDown. This turned out to be a really fun match. Great athleticism, great spots. I like the ending as Chris Sabin and Johnny Gargano fight on opposite sides of the ladder. Montez Ford, who had been pulled through the rungs by Gargano, climbs the ladder from the inside. He's on the inside of the rungs, like, Spider-Manning it for a little while until he gets to the part where the rungs are closer together. He fights off both Gargano and Sabin near the top of the ladder, climbs to the exterior, sits on the top, and captures the belts to retain. This match goes, like you said, 23 minutes. They gave them plenty of time. There was some good celebration afterwards. The crowd seemed to enjoy this match. I'm glad they did this match because there were other things during the show that maybe the crowd felt a little let down, perhaps a little cheated from. But this match, I don't think I can really say anything bad about it. Even in the stuff that wasn't too clean, it was messy because they were trying some really difficult stuff and experimenting a little. I wound up enjoying this match. It exceeded my expectations, and I think it was great, and I think the right team won as well.
Yeah, it seemed to get better as they got cooking, right? As the match went on. At first, I was like, this seems like going to... I kind of misjudged it early on. I was like, this is going to be a car crash. I do admit, I had someone text me and say, did you see the match? It was really good. So I was a little already looking forward to it.
Okay.
Which kind of manipulated my opinion in the beginning there, but eventually got to a point where I was like, yeah, this is a pretty good match. And again, I think they really got cooking there toward the end. Probably there's a lot of different spots. I mean, it was kind of a spot fest, if you will, but there was one spot with this spear by one of the Street Profits when one of the DIY members is hanging. I forget which one it was specifically, but they're hanging from the belts and they're just up there. I think this is something that Edge did in the past It's a throwback to that other classic TLC match with the Dudley Boys, Edge and Christian, and I think the Hardy Boys maybe. The Hardys, not the Hardy Boys, the Hardys. But yeah. So that spot was
To see
awesome.
Angelo Dawkins do it as big as he is.
Yeah, he's the perfect guy for it. Just because he's such a house.
Yeah, make the biggest guy leap off a ladder for a spear.
It actually kind of looks more impressive when it's like that because he's so big rather than like, the hyper athletic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a good sequence. Tommaso Ciampa got to the belts. He got to the bar that the belts were each hung to. Because it's a tag team match, you couldn't take down the belts from the bar. You had to take down the bar itself, which was attached to the hook.
Mm-hmm.
So Ciampa is hanging onto the bar, unable to reach the clasp on the top. As the Motor City Machine Guns pull the ladder out from under him, and now he's dangling. That's when Dawkins, who's on another ladder over in the corner, leaps and spears Ciampa off the bar through a table, which was just conveniently set up in the ring there. So
Yeah.
it becomes this weird spot. It's not only a spear, it's a spear off a ladder. It's not only a spear off a ladder, it's a spear off a ladder onto a guy who's hanging from the belts bar. It's not only a spear off a ladder on a guy who's hanging from the belts bar, but they both land on a table and break it.
I have to say, too, you said match of the year. I'm going to go ahead and say weapon spot of the year is going to go to the prosthetic leg of the fan used as a weapon.
Yes.
Was incredible. I usually put
Montez
a
Ford.
plus or a minus if they
Uh-huh.
and I put plus. I gave it extra pluses in my
Yes.
notes. I popped for it. It was amazing.
Absolutely. It's the best leg drop ever.
To coordinate with a fan before the show that has a prosthetic leg, like, hey, do you want to use this? It must have been like a gift from God for Montez Ford. Like, yes, I would love to use a prosthetic leg as a weapon. Are you kidding?
Right. And that's a good point. Was the guy a plant? Was this just called on the spot that there's somebody saying to, Montez Ford, here, use my prosthetic leg?
It would be insane. I saw that the guy was on Twitter, aka X, and he was like, hey, I'm the guy that used the prosthetic leg, and Bully Ray was like, please let us interview you because they wanted to ask him about it. I am curious. I feel like that's probably going to be worked out ahead of time, but if it wasn't, then it's magical.
Right.
But
right.
my belief would be, that's got to be discussed ahead of time.
Sure.
But let's, for the sake of, for the sake of making a better spot, let's assume that they didn't know.
You mentioned Bully Ray there. How about the Street Profits doing the Dudley Boys? Get the tables!
Loved it.
Yelling it very loudly, and the crowd pops for it.
Yeah. No, that was great.
Yep. A lot of good callbacks. Any other spots you wanted to call out here? Because that spot you were talking about, Angelo Dawkins leaping from the ladder to spear, that was very close to the closing sequence. So that was all towards the end there within the last maybe 3 minutes.
Yeah. So the only thing, obviously I'm going to stick with my gimmick here and just say there was too many dives. There was just so many dives, and I was like, so many dives. But I guess it's a little bit to be expected when they're doing the car crash match. Like, okay, whatever. Let the kids have fun. Let them do their dives. Everyone gets their S in, right?
Yes.
But let's see if I have anything else. Oh, I love the plant ladder breaking. Like, there was one ladder that actually broke at one point, and I know it was a plant, but it did break, which was cool.
Was that Tommaso Ciampa hitting the white noise on Montez Ford?
That's it. That's the one.
Through the ladder suspended from the barricade to the ring?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was a good one. another one onto the floor. The Motor City Machine Guns hit a skull and bones. Usually they hit it from the top turnbuckle into the ring.
Through the table.
This time they did it slingshot style through a table on the floor.
Yeah, very cool. I have that one here as well. So yeah, there was a bunch of spots. I was like taking tons of notes, which is kind of a good sign that they were moving fast and furious. And that was just the style of it. But yeah, I think to your point, it was a great match, and they really set the expectation for like what the wrestling can really be on SmackDown. It felt like a pay-per-view match.
Right? It's the SmackDown after WrestleMania. None of these guys got their WrestleMania moment 5 or 6 days earlier. So yeah, this was it. Like Carmelo Hayes got his moment the eve of WrestleMania, winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. And these guys kind of got their WrestleMania moment on the SmackDown after WrestleMania, giving them the last half hour, like you said, and letting them just show what they can do for more than 20 minutes. This would have been maybe the second or third longest WrestleMania match had this been on the WrestleMania card at about 23 minutes or so.
Yeah, so that's the main event, Tom.
Yep.
Anything else you want to talk about with this match? I know it went for a while, but
it did go for a while. Lots of tables breaking, especially on the floor.
Yeah. All right, so that's the lead. Let's move into the follow. And we can do a number of matches here.
There were 4 other matches, yes.
Maybe one of the more interesting ones from my end here is LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre. This ends up in kind of a messy interference schmage.
Yep.
But we do get to see LA Knight versus Drew McIntyre, which those are two like my favorites. But this one kind of gets thrown out due to all kinds of interference. It's Damian Priest and Solo Sikoa comes in. So yeah, this one
Fatu. This was set up to be a number 1 contender match for Jacob Fatu's newly won U.S. Championship belt. So this match basically gets thrown out. LA Knight gets, like you said, spiked by Solo Sikoa, who ambushed LA Knight on the floor out of sight of the ref. And then Damian Priest came in to stop Drew McIntyre from setting up a Claymore on a clearly compromised LA Knight. That the ref saw and maybe disqualified LA Knight or threw out the match. Whatever it was, yeah, like you said, LA Knight was pissed off at Damian Priest saying, hey, you just cost me a match. Damian Priest trying to explain to him, cost you the match. You were going to get your head kicked off. I didn't cost anybody the match. And that's when Jacob Fatu shows up and just takes out both Damian Priest and LA Knight after Damian Priest took out Drew McIntyre through the announce desk. So Jacob Fatu looks strong. Early on in this match, this was a really good match. In fact, even the little things were really good. Like my first note I wrote down was someone tell John Cena that this is how you do a headlock.
Right, because he had that side headlock. He just did not know what he was doing.
Right. Like early on in this match, LA Knight executes a wonderful side headlock on Drew McIntyre, who is trying to get out of it the way you should try to get out of a side headlock. And I'm like, not to go all Jim Cornette, but this looked like 2 guys who were having a fight. Yes.
Sorry, Dom. I am doing 2 things at once. I'm turning on monetization for the video. Okay.
Good. There you go. If we've got people watching, thank you. If you're joining us on Twitch, on X, or on YouTube, thank you wherever you're watching us. Please know if you want the mother load of our content, it is over at YouTube. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel. All of the archived live streams are there, plus the edited videos that John makes and the hashtag shorts, the sub 60-second videos that John makes. And you can go through and just watch any of our old stuff. It's all there. See how we've grown up right before your eyes. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel on YouTube. Subscribe. Help us climb the next mountain.
Yeah.
Speaking of climbing the next mountain, who's going to be the number 1 contender to Jacob Fatu's U.S. Championship? It looks like there's 3 or 4 guys who it could be. It could be LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, Damian Priest, or Solo Sikoa. And they're each interesting for a different reason. I mean, since the match got thrown out, do you want to do a little fantasy booking? What each guy has going for him, plus or minus? I mean, LA Knight, what are the pluses or minus for LA Knight facing Jacob Fatu?
Plus is he's one of my favorite wrestlers.
Okay.
That's a huge plus. I almost would prefer LA Knight to get upgraded and go after either one of the bigger belts.
Okay.
Either that World Championship or Cena's belt.
Okay.
I'd be more interested in seeing that. But
I'm going to agree with your plus minus there. The plus is that LA Knight is not only fantastic, but he and Jacob Fatu have excellent chemistry. So like that would be an excellent match to watch like it was at WrestleMania. The minus, of course, is we've already seen it. And does that lock LA Knight into something that at the moment would be stale for him? Like
right.
let's move on. So I'll agree with you. How about Damian Priest? Give me a plus and a minus for if it's Damian Priest who faces Jacob Fatu.
Oh, let's see here. Plus, I'm gonna go outside the box here. A plus would be that he wrestled at the Monster Factory. He was trained in South Jersey. He was trained like 5 minutes from where I live, and
there you go.
Also are familiar with the Monster Factory, and kind of a dump, but our dump at one point.
If that's where you pay your dues, that's why you're awesome when you finally get to the big stage.
Yeah. One of those beautiful dumps. But yeah, so that's a plus. A minus would be that it's I don't really have a minus. Do you have any plus or minus?
A plus for me would be that we haven't seen this match before. And I think they're both interesting workers who have different styles, but I think they'd be pretty good complementary. A minus would be that Jacob Fatu is trending babyface, and I don't think Damian Priest would be able to hold the crowd, and it might get awkward.
Yeah.
Drew McIntyre, give me a plus and a minus.
I mean, probably plus because he's pure heel, and you could have Jacob Fatu be a face.
It could turn Jacob. Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
that's
you could really just have him be the face there. Minus would be, I think he should also maybe be in the World Championship picture. A little bit higher up, but it doesn't hurt to have a bunch of. Now that I'm thinking about it, it doesn't hurt to have a bunch of good guys going after a belt, which is what you kind of have here with McIntyre specifically, LA Knight, of course, and Damian Priest can hold his own.
Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre are former world champs within the past year. I'll give you the plus there, as I think Drew McIntyre cut an excellent promo in which he elevated the U.S. Championship. And when he basically said, John Cena's a fake now, the baddest guy with a belt is you, Jacob Fatu. So I think the plus is that Drew McIntyre cut such a great promo that he elevated Jacob Fatu almost to where we all know, like, yes, we get that the story is John Cena finally with a heel turn, but yeah, Jacob Fatu's the best guy with a belt right now.
Yes, let's talk about a couple notes from the match too.
Sure, if you want.
I thought
I didn't have a lot of notes, and just because and once it got thrown out, I'm like, oh, geez, all right, whatever. Go ahead.
The Brain Buster looked great.
Drew hitting the Brain Buster on LA Knight. Okay.
Yeah, that Brain Buster looks awesome and nasty. That's a pretty difficult move to pull off, and it looks good. And then Drew, just one more thing, really. Two things. Good pacing. Yes. And I don't see a lot of Drew McIntyre matches, but he's really good at sucking the crowd in and responding to the crowd and getting them into it.
Yes.
He has an excellent stage presence, if you will, in there. So
and we're getting to see it.
Yeah.
This is a lot more than when we first started watching SmackDown back in 2022. Wow, it's been a while, hasn't it?
It has been a while.
when Drew was kind of just there and he was on TV, then off. He was there just for War Games, then off again. They looked like they were struggling to find something for him to do. Now he's really hit his stride. I like him. I will give you a couple things from the match as well. I like how these guys were responding to each other and wrestling defensively. LA Knight blocked a suplex, hit one of his own. LA Knight escaped the power slam and hit his jumping net breaker for a 2 count. Drew kicking out of the top turn elbow drop after 2. And both guys selling that their ribs were hurting from their respective WrestleMania matches.
Mm-hmm.
So like these guys, these are 2 professionals. This is what you wanted to see. I wanted to see a finish, but I get why they didn't do it. This is almost typical for the first SmackDown post WrestleMania. Is there's got to be something quirky and schmozzy because they're trying to just throw a bunch of stuff out there to create new angles. One more, let's go wild card. What if it's Solo Sikoa that faces Jacob Fatu? Give me a plus and a minus for that.
It probably gives the bloodline a better direction than they had for the past, I don't know, 6 months.
Okay.
Outside of them just being jobbers, like just end the bloodline thing and have Solo go on his own. A minus would be, let's see. I'm too positive, Dom. I can only think of the pluses. A minus may be that you have some more legs with this breakup.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like this has a little bit more time if you don't want to pull the trigger so soon.
I like that. First, I'll give you my minus for Drew McIntyre is that he's so good as a heel. I think it would be awkward to have John Cena heel champ and Drew McIntyre heel champ at the same time. So I don't know about that. But for Solo Sikoa, the plus is that this is the longest building feud they have, which at some point they're going to need a blow off.
Yeah, at some point they have to do it.
Especially since Solo is the only one of these 5 who hasn't held a singles title in the WWE main roster.
Wow. He's never had a title?
He's never held a singles title.
Wow.
He did not have the Intercontinental because Gunther had it for so long. Then the U.S. belt never made its way to Solo. Solo never got his flowers chasing Cody.
No.
Solo's the only one who hasn't had a belt. I think the plus and the minus are going to be kind of ironic. Is that the plus is that this is the most well-developed feud so far and dynamic would be Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu. The minus is that although it's been the most well-developed one, I think it has more legs. And I don't know if I want the blow-off to be this soon.
Mm-hmm.
So the minus is I think there's still more to do.
Yeah.
So there's a little fantasy booking since they threw out the match. You know, let's
we had to talk about something.
Yeah,
right.
let's take a little detour there.
Yeah, so I think it's a good idea to talk about the pluses and the minuses about all the guys, but I totally forgot about this one. And this is a really good match here. We have Chelsea Green versus Zelina Vega. I would have really put this at the top of the follow if I had thought this out a little further.
Okay.
Because Zelina Vega goes over Chelsea Green and wins the U.S. title. We have a new champ.
Yes.
This really could have been the lead if the lead wasn't so fantastic in the main event.
Sure, this was a fun little match. They played up that Zelina Vega had never won a singles title in 5 attempts. So Zelina Vega now has a singles title before Solo Sikoa. Congratulations, Zelina Vega.
Right.
But yeah, congrats for her. The secret Hervis of Piper Niven and Alba Fire got thrown out of ringside just before the end of this match because the ref started seeing some shenanigans attempts there. This was well done by everyone involved. Zelina Vega back in the ring. Chelsea Green whips Zelina into the ropes, then ducks for a back body drop. Zelina floats over, hits a code red for the pinfall. This match goes about 7 or 8 minutes, including a commercial break in there. Fun little match. We may have some more on Chelsea Green when we get to Cheap Heat.
Yeah.
But before we get there, we'll leave that out there as a tease.
That's just.
But tell us about this 7 or 8 minute match here. What say you about this? You said this could have been the lead if the tables, ladders, and chairs ladder match for the tag titles on the men's side wasn't so good.
Yeah. What
did you like?
So I think from my perspective, anytime a title change happens, it's on SmackDown. It's cool, right?
Okay.
Like I'm glad I've seen it now with the U.S. title, with LA Knight winning one, and then Chelsea Green now losing the title to Zelina Vega. Zelina's definitely earned it. Would you agree there? She's always made the most of her minutes.
Yes.
So I like her getting the U.S. title, and Chelsea was a good champ though.
She was a great first person to hold that belt.
Everything she did was hilarious.
Yes, and it was, the thing about creating the women's U.S. championship is that everyone, okay, it's a B-level belt, and it would have been very easy for it to feel like a B-level belt. But Chelsea Green made it so entertaining.
It has not felt like a B-level belt. Like, I feel like sometimes, like, whenever there's a random NXT belt floating around up in the main roster, you're like, what is this thing? Like when they're the North American NXT champion, you're like, okay. I mean, the guiltiest party of that is AEW. There's so many guys just with random belts. I was watching a little earlier tonight. Okada
for
comes
the same
out.
reason, right? Because they have ROH attached to them, and they have
yeah. So they'll have like a guy with a Ring of Honor championship that no one watches the show. So you're like, what is going on here? Who's this guy with a belt? It
happens. You bring up guys for from the farm system, and let them have their belt match on the big show. Yeah. I'm going to agree with you that Zelina Vega has been getting better at making the most of her TV time. She's a fun and athletic, albeit small. I mean, she's kind of the Rey Mysterio of the women's division. And for a while, they were allied together in the LWO. So, I mean, that makes sense. I like her getting this belt, especially for her first belt. I think this is a good thing to do with the Women's U.S. Championship, is to just give someone a chance to be a title holder without giving them the world title.
Yeah.
Which is what the U.S. Championship and Intercontinental Championship are for on the men's side, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's one more prize that gives you an instant storyline, an instant feud, and it lets you see how newer wrestlers perform when they finally get a title. It also lets you see how maybe guys who had been on top and then bump down a level to give someone else a chance to rise, how they still do, keeping the crowd's interest and holding the crowd's interest. And are they still performing even though they're at the moment, sort of in the mid-ish card?
Mm-hmm.
Any spots you wanted to call out?
Only one for me is the Meteora by Vega looked really good.
From the second turnbuckle, that one?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. That's the only thing I wanted to call out. The Secret Service or the Hervis is always hilarious and great. Yes. Once they get booted, it's like this is kind of an old WWE gimmick. When the heel manager gets booted, that's usually when the face is going to win, right? Because the heel managers the crowd gets so fired up. They love when they boot the managers.
Yes.
And then when they boot the manager, it's like, okay, now the heel gets their comeuppance because they can't hide behind the managers anymore.
Clean pinfall in the middle of the ring.
Mm-hmm. And new champ. So Zelina Vega, congratulations. I called out the last 2 matches, Dom. Well, 3 really, including the lead. Do you want to take us to the next one?
Sure. WWE Women's Championship match, Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill. And when they first announced this match, I went, oh, this will be interesting. Because I wasn't sure, what are they going to do this quickly? I mean, Tiffany Stratton just had what should have been a career-defining match against Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania, in which she retained the belt. And here's Jade Cargill, who's finally looks like she's on a proper ascent and not an inflated push. Like she feels like she's earning this progress.
She's on the right path.
Yeah, and this was a really good match until this one again became a schmaz at the end. The match gets thrown out. Naomi rushes to the ring as Tiffany rolls under the Jade meets Tiffany on the ropes and hits a second turnbuckle suplex. Tiffany rolls under the bottom rope to avoid any follow-up by Jade. That's when Naomi rushes the ring and attacks Jade to cause the DQ. As Naomi is pummeling Jade, Tiffany Stratton re-enters the ring from the floor, has a stare down with Naomi, who leaves the ring and backtracks up the ramp as Nia Jax enters from the crowd side and ambushes Tiffany Stratton. So that feud is not over.
Yes, I love this.
I was going to say, what say you about this? Which one do you love? That is it one, the other, or both? Is
both?
It's both. It's that Naomi and Jade Cargill are not finished yet.
Yeah.
And it's that Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, after a brief hiatus, are not finished yet.
Nia Jax made me laugh out loud when she came back, because I was like, oh yeah, she's back. And then the crowd's booing her and she's like, suck it. She does a suck it to the crowd.
Yeah,
and
she's
it was
like doing the DX or whatever.
Yeah, and she's telling the crowd to suck it. I was like, oh, she's back. There she is. Like, she's very good at talking crap to the crowd. She's got she's just a natural born jerk. Like, she just she really has. It almost feels a little bit like it's not so much of a character. That's just her everyday reality, which is like a good sign. Like, and there would always do these like there used to be this reality TV show they made all the girls do, the Divas.
Oh,
and she was always kind of like a bit much on the show, just like she is in real, just like the wrestler was. So I don't know how much of this is her even acting at this point. This might just be how she acts. Like, it's just her turned up a little bit, right? But that's who she is.
She's clearly bigger than everyone else, so she has that bully role already going for her, and she leans into it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so this one gets thrown out, and it's kind of disappointing because we have another. This is the second match that gets thrown out, and it's always kind of annoying when they get thrown out. But at least it's leading us to the correct direction, which for me, I'd love to see Naomi get a win over Jade, and then eventually have a blow off. And then, in addition to that, I think Naomi deserves it. I like her new heel gimmick, and I wouldn't want to let this go to waste. And in addition to that, great that Nia Jax is back. I do have quite a few spots I want to call out.
Sure, go for it. I was just going to ask. Let's not poo-poo the match itself.
Yeah.
Were there things in the match that impressed you with each person performing their wrestling ability?
So two things I want to point out. Well, there's three, but two things right away that were botches, but they got to where they needed to be. They just weren't really smooth, but they're still I don't mind them. So one was the arm drag. There was a botch with an arm drag with Jade and Tiffany that they just sort of fell on each other and it just wasn't smooth.
Okay.
There was also a really bad spine buster by Jade. She didn't execute the whole thing. She just kind of tackled her. So.
Okay. Yes. There was a Jade spine buster early for a 2 count. And then Tiffany hit one of her own shortly after that.
Maybe that was Tiffany. One of the two of them.
Well, Tiffany ducked a high knee, rolled her up for a 2 count, and then hit a spine buster of her own for a 2 count. So they each got spine busters on the other for 2 counts early.
One of the two of them botched taking it, or they were just, she didn't slam her hard enough, and it was just it kind of looked like just a tackle. Now I'm botching the botch. But anyways,
it was 5 days ago. Give us a break.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I don't mind these because they got to where they needed to be, and sometimes I just like when it's a little messier in there because it feels a little bit more real. It shouldn't always look so smooth. That's some of my complaints sometimes with the lucha matches. All the stuff is so smooth, and you're like, it should feel like it's a fight, you know. So I don't. I should say that although they weren't perfectly executed, they got the job done. Um, yeah. So the flippy corner elbow is what I'm calling it, where she does the gymnastics, Tiffany, and hits the elbow.
Handspring back elbow, the great Muda move.
Yeah. So unfortunately, with this new play-by-play guy, he never says anything, and I just have to make it up on the spot when I don't know what it is. So I call it the flippy corner elbow.
It is.
And then two more things. The not so pretty moonsault as Tiffany Stratton goes to the second rope and slips. And she has to start over again, but then she makes it pretty. So she fixes her makeup and makes it pretty. And then one last piece. We had a "This is awesome" chant. What'd you think of that one, Dom? This is awesome.
It's a little unexpected, but I think they were moving fast, and I think they were doing some really cool stuff. You mentioned the handspring back elbow. Tiffany Stratton attempted 3 of those. On the third attempt, Jade caught her, but couldn't follow up as Tiffany escaped and then hit a basement drop kick for a 2 count, which is when the opponent is already just sitting on the mat and you hit that drop kick anyway. They call it the basement drop kick. I kind of like that description. That's a good one. Another one I really liked was Tiffany was going for her cartwheel into the Alabama Slam. Jade, who's a physically strong, stopped it on the cartwheel part and turned it into a sit-out powerbomb for a 2 count. So I like Jade being strong enough to prevent the Tiffany Stratton expected offense. I do like that. Good pacing on the match. I will say that this was another one like LA Knight, Drew McIntyre, where as it was going along, when the schmaz happened, I went, oh, this was a pretty good match. Little disappointed that we didn't get to see where it was going.
Yeah. I would have rather seen it because the match was good, and they were like kind of cooking out there. And then you got the "This is awesome" chant. Is nice job, nice work,
Right.
Girls. Right? You get the "This is awesome" chant. They're into it, and
because it's 2 baby faces, right? Like Tiffany Stratton is a baby face, and Jade Cargill's become a baby face.
Exactly. Okay, so
you mentioned Naomi's heel turn. There's a backstage segment with her and Nia Jax a little later where Nia says, like, yeah, you can go after Jade, just stay out of my world title picture. And Naomi gives the everything will be okay as long as you proceed with caution and walks away. So the caution tape outfit, she's really leaning into that.
Oh, I like that. Proceed with caution, and she's
proceed with caution.
I love it. I love the Owen Hart throwback gear, and I like her new. I would call her attitude crazy. She's a psycho. She's like throwing punches. She's like screaming like a maniac. Like I like that she's being a psycho. So,
women's division needed a psycho.
They did. They don't have any psychos. There should be more psychos in pro wrestling, Dom. We know this. All right. We have one more match and a talking segment. Which would
opener.
Yeah.
The opening match. The first of the match, which was not the opener.
Oh, I have to talk about this. Oh.
Fraxium versus Los Garza?
No. The very opener is Cena's promo.
Yes.
So I oftentimes fast forward to the promos, not for heel Cena. He is cooking right now.
Heel Cena is must watch TV.
Must watch TV. When he yells at the kid,
yes,
it says That's right, kid. Your dad's a loser. I was like, yes, John. Yes. He has a way right now of just completely playing off the crowd. So if they start to cheer him too much, he puts them in their place, and they start to boo him. He's like, "You make this so easy."
He's
Like,
an insult comic doing crowd work.
he's exactly it. He's doing crowd work. And it's so interesting to see that he has just a loose strategy out there rather than a template. He's playing off the crowd and then reacting in either way. So if they cheer him, oh, well, you were booing me 5 seconds ago, blah, 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 blah. But now you're cheering me? Pathetic, you know?
Right.
And
I'm waiting for, sir, where are you from? Are you on a date tonight? Is that your wife, girlfriend? How long you been together?
right. He totally has a template, or he totally has like a flow chart of, if the crowd does this, then say this. If the crowd does this, then say that. And the crowds are reacting because what they say he's reacting to.
Yes.
So then they're playing along. So the crowds are hot and interested in it because it's like, oh, whatever you say to him, he'll say something different back, rather than like, oh, I'm here, I'm John Cena, and then I'm going to just keep going and going and going and going. Like, sometimes these WWE promos can get boring. Like,
yeah, they're feeding off of each other. There's a
they're-
little bit of spontaneity to it.
Yes, there's a lot of bit of spontaneity. But yeah, so it's something that I've been a big fan of. And then he tells Randy Orton he's going to erase 3 generations of his family, which is also amazing.
Yeah, Randy Orton comes out and tells John Cena, John, you've changed. You should have had some kids. Should have raised some kids of your own. Which is when Cena really started laying into it. Was like, no, the reason I don't have kids is because I've been raising all of yours for 20 years.
And then he even comes out and he says, "Oh, so you're going to kid shame me now?" Like, turning it around on him.
Yes.
And I was a little bit. There is something about a heel that sometimes says something. You're like, the heel is kind of right.
Yeah.
He's kid shaming him.
They made a match for Backlash in St. Louis, which is Randy Orton's hometown. John Cena tosses the belt at Randy, then uses the misdirection to attack him. But Cena goes for the belt shot. Randy gets to his feet, ducks it, and hits the RKO out of nowhere. So Randy Orton, this is twice now because he did it on Raw as well, leaves John Cena lying in the middle of the ring after an RKO. These two had a wonderful, wonderful rivalry, I'm told, for a while.
Before our time, Dom. I didn't see it, but I've heard about it.
I did not see this at all. I was not watching WWE back then. But these guys have been going at it for a couple of decades, apparently. They've known each other for 25 years, Randy Orton said. So this is good. This is a good first opponent for John Cena, isn't it?
Absolutely.
They really couldn't have picked a better guy.
Yeah.
And how good was it that, that serendipitously, unfortunately, Kevin Owens was hurt. But like Randy Orton being freed up from that Kevin Owens feud now makes Randy Orton the perfect guy to be the Cena foil for Cena's first title defense.
Yeah.
I like it.
All right. We have one more match here. We have
Fraxium, Nathan Frazier and Axiom. It's Fraxium.
Fraxium versus Los Garza.
Yes.
And Fraxium wins over Los Garza.
Yes.
Dom, what'd you think of this one?
Wasn't a bad match. I'm a little miffed that a couple of guys who just lost their mojo on NXT come up to the main roster and beat a team that I thought had some potential and deserved at least a little bit of a push.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. I thought the same exact thing. I said, who the hell are these guys? Oh, they're probably up to lose to Los Garza. And then they win. And I'm like, why?
I was like, well, what's up with Los Garza now? I thought Angel and Berto were doing pretty well.
It felt like they finally got something going with those two guys.
Yeah.
Because they've been doing all kinds of different stuff with them, but it felt like they have a solid mid-card team. Now, I'm not saying they're going to be champs, but I figured they'd knock off the NXT guys, you know?
The NXT guys who just lost, you know. It's not like the NXT guys showed up with the belts and you're like, oh, well, do we want Los Garza to actually have to go to NXT and defend the belts now? I mean,
yeah, are Los Garza now going to have to beat? Are they getting sent down to NXT? Is this what this is alluding to?
It's just like Champions League soccer over in Europe.
Yeah, you lose to you don't see a lot of NXT people come up and win, you know?
Like you lose to the lower tier guys, you go into the lower tier, and the lower tier guys move up to your level.
Yeah, exactly. But even in this situation, they shouldn't even been. They just lost. They shouldn't be in SmackDown.
So some good. I don't want to totally bury the match outcome here. I do like a couple of good double team maneuvers from each team here. Los Garzas do their double team slam from the second turnbuckle. That double team press slam onto Nathan Frazier. Then Berto hits the moonsault. For a 2 count. It was broken up by Axiom. It looked like that Nathan Frazier was not going to kick out, so a good timing there by Axiom to break it up. And then the finish of the match. Axiom hits a top turnbuckle Spanish fly on Angel. This was well executed. Spanish flies are not easy to do.
No,
Ricochet and Logan Paul. Then Nathan Frazier hit a corkscrew top turnbuckle splash for the pinfall. This match goes maybe in the 9-minute range, including a commercial break. So they gave them some time, a lot of action. I'm not disappointed with the wrestling that I saw. I am just, it's a little bit of a head scratcher because I thought Los Garza was maybe getting a little bit of a push. But I can't complain about the match itself. It was good action.
Dom, great throwback to one of our more popular shorts with Logan Paul and Ricochet doing the doing the Spanish fly.
Not quite getting all the way over through the tables in the Money in the Bank match, right?
It looked like one of them could have gotten killed.
Right? Poor Logan Paul. That would have been the end of his lawsuit for his fake crypto thing.
Would have been it for the crypto lawsuit.
Sorry, class action contenders, but he's dead.
Right. That's a short. All right. So, only thing I really had to add, you know, I thought it was good. Frexium is fast, which I liked.
Yep.
4 straight dives, no commercial? Question mark. So it's dive, and we didn't go to commercial. Times have changed. Right? Times have changed.
I could have done with the commercial break after the first dive, so I didn't have to watch the other 3.
I had to watch the other 3.
It's like we come back from commercial and Joe Chester says, "You guys missed 3 additional dives onto the floor." It's like, thank goodness, thank you.
Goodness. Right. Anything? So yeah, I think that's pretty much it for this match. Anything else from the show you want to talk about?
Yes, Solo Sikoa really leaning into the heel, taking credit for Jacob Fatu's championship.
Yes.
Like, I'm the one who wanted him here. Nobody else wanted him here. I brought him in. I got him into the title picture. You know, he's congratulating himself, which led to Jacob Fatu taking the microphone with him and trying to say, like, no, I did this. This is me. And that led to Drew McIntyre, LA Knight, Nick Aldis making the #1 contenders match. I like that setup. I like what Solo Sikoa is doing. I like what Jacob Fatu is doing. I like what everybody's doing there. I also like The Miz. The Mellow Don't Miz tag team here after congratulating Carmelo Hayes and giving him a huge necklace to commemorate winning the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. The Miz heads to the ring and complains about not being in WrestleMania 41. Perhaps it was because last time he was in WrestleMania, Snoop Dogg had to finish him off after Shane McMahon tore both quads on a leapfrog.
Right.
So I mean, maybe the Miz does deserve a little redemption there. We don't want that to be our last image of the Miz at WrestleMania, having to
True.
job to Snoop Dogg because his planned job to a juiced up Shane McMahon did not go according to plan. So the Miz is in the ring complaining about not being in WrestleMania when other guys were in WrestleMania. He runs down Cody Rhodes for being there and losing his story. He runs down Ray Phoenix for being, maybe I should have changed my name to Ray. How does this guy get a WrestleMania match? He's been here 2 weeks. He runs down Joe Hendry for getting matches because he's just a living internet meme. And then Aleister Black comes out, heads to the ring. Miz stomps towards him and tries to pick a fight. Aleister Black spin kicks him, and that's the end of that. So this was a good Miz. He had a point in some aspects here, and then it's a good way to introduce Aleister Black. Do you remember Aleister Black from? They were trying to set up that he had been in WWE previously. Do you remember him? If not, do you know him from another promotion? Was he in AEW? I don't seem to remember him.
He was in WWE. WWE did layoffs. He was part of the layoffs. Then he got signed by AEW.
Okay.
He was okay in AEW. He was part of the House of Black, which had 2 really good guys in it. One of which is Buddy Matthews, who is married to Rhea Ripley.
Yes.
So the House of, they were pretty cool. As a team, I don't really care for him as a wrestler that much. I find him to be a bit boring, but he has the look. He has the look. So we'll see what he does. I'd be interested to see what you think of his work.
Okay. The Miz seems to be a star maker.
Yes.
He gave LA Knight a really good rub by putting over LA Knight maybe a year and a half ago or so.
Yeah, and this is good for Mello too.
Yes, it's good for Mello. It's good for Aleister Black. I mean, the Miz is he's so good when they put him on the mic. He seems to be able to still go in the ring, and he's got enough gravitas that when he goes out there, him being in the ring with the other guy elevates the other guy. He's good mid-card fuel. So I like that. I think that's all I have from backstage segments, really.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've talked at length of this show. So
it's the first SmackDown we've done in a while. We skipped SmackDown to do a WrestleMania preview. Then we skipped SmackDown to do WrestleMania. This is the first SmackDown we've done in 3 weeks.
Dom, you know what time it is?
It's time to perhaps put a bow on the first SmackDown we've recapped since April 4th. The thumb drive, of course, is when you and I are going to distill this wrestling program into a simple thumbs up or a thumbs down. There are no ties. There are also no star ratings, no letter grades, no number grades. You are taking this course. Pass, fail.
Exactly. All right, Tom. Yes, this is this. We're not Dave Meltzer, okay? No. We are not Dave Meltzer. We just say, was the show good or was the show bad? And let me tell you something. There's no star ratings for us. No 7 stars in the Tokyo Dome. There's no 2 stars between 2 women in the Core State Center in the 90s. No.
There's no first ever women's match receiving a 5-star rating for Iyo Skye, Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair at WrestleMania 41.
That was amazing. Amazing. But there was a Japanese wrestler, so
he
He couldn't help himself.
It also was a great match, so we agree with Dave there.
We did agree. Yeah, I said 5 stars. We said it was the match of the night. So
yes. We are not Dave. We are not doing that. We have more of a dichotomy here. So let's see where we fall on the thumbs up or thumbs down.
All right, Tom, ready?
I'm ready.
3, 2, 1. Oh, Tom, you give this SmackDown a thumbs down. Explain yourself.
It had the match of the year, but John, this was a 3-hour show.
Mm-hmm.
Was there enough stuff in this 3-hour show? I don't know. I think if this were a 2-hour show and some stuff got cut, it may have teetered enough for me to go thumbs up because of what the last match was. But this was a 3-hour show. I got one great match. I'm happy for Zelina Vega, but I can't thumb up a 3-hour show because they gave us the final 23-minute segment was a fun wrestling match, and John Cena is doing improv comedy work, 2.5 hours earlier.
You know what?
I can't do it. It's a 3-hour show.
I have a feeling, Dom, that this might turn into a problem because
Okay.
we talked about this before they went to 3 hours, and we said, are they going to have enough to fill out the 3 hours, right? And I'm starting to see some cracks. I'm seeing some stuff that, like, basically the show is boring sometimes because it's longer, and and even if they do have good stuff going on, it's like, man, this 3-hour show sure drags. So it's just hurting the product for it being 3 hours. But for
But
me,
you had a different take. You gave it a thumbs up.
yeah.
Talk up this show. Change my mind, John.
Well, I think with the main event, they gave us a 30-minute match, no commercials. Can't ask for more than that. We got Zelina Vega winning the U.S. women's title, so that's really cool. I know that there was some schmozzes with, like, Damian Priest and LA Knight, and then Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill. But with Tiffany Stratton and Jade Cargill, I was into that match.
Yeah.
So, and I liked the direction they were heading. And then finally, that's right, kid. Your dad's a loser. How am I giving that a thumb down? Thumbs up.
It's if you're into the John Cena heel turn, then this did it for you. Yeah, it's
yes. I absolutely love the John Cena heel turn.
There were things to like about this show. I just didn't think there was enough to like about a 3-hour show.
I agree. I actually agree with you. I'm having a tough time with SmackDown lately. I'm not gonna. I've had some SmackDowns where I'm just like, it's too long, and I'm trying to take it easy on them because I'm like, well, maybe fans can only watch 2 hours of it, but for us, it's like I'm watching 3 hours of it. I'm like, Jesus, this takes so long to get through.
It was better when it was a little more efficient and Gunther was wrestling.
Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Well, anyways, we got differing opinions here. Dom went down, I went up, but so that's not a good sign of a show. Because we err on the side of positivity, so we typically just give out the thumbs. It's usually got to be
sometimes fun when we have reasons to explain ourselves a little bit.
Oh yeah, and that kind of back and forth that can drive some numbers. When you have the back and forth, and we like stuff as cheap as we can get it. So we're on to our next segment here, Dom. Cheap heat.
Yes.
Cheap heat is where we talk about the WWE, AEW, and beyond. We talk about trending topics in the wrestling world. And Dom shares his screen. We'll walk through different articles, different hang on, let me do this. I'm doing two things at once.
Yeah.
Just let him share his screen. Oh, Dom will walk through different trending topics in the wrestling world. And usually what I'll do is I'll make shorter videos based off of some of the stuff we're looking through today. And that's really been the backbone of our growth. We were just doing these shows and like going live and getting like one viewer, and then eventually just started making videos based on trending topics that we discussed during the show, and channel blew up. So, Dom, can I kick it to you here?
You can kick it to me. Have I got some deals for you? Low prices on wrestling news this week for cheap heat. Let's start off with some wrestling finance here. As lawmakers mull massive expansion of the program, the WWE offers a glimpse of how film tax credits work. This comes to us from the Nevada Current. Why is Nevada writing about this? Because where was WrestleMania 41 held? In Las Vegas, Nevada. And, WWE is part of a sports entertainment leaning sports corporation there, TKO. But, the WWE, they produce television shows. And as such, they spend a lot of money on live events. They spend a lot of money recording events for broadcast. And when they start itemizing everything they spend their money on, they also, as Triple H's theme song tells us, play the game. As a corporate entity, there are regulations, there are obstacles, there are loopholes. There are millions and billions to be shuffled around. The WWE is approved to receive $4.2 million in transferable film tax credits for WrestleMania 41 and related events, according to an application approved earlier this month by the Governor's Office for Economic Development and the Nevada Film Office. That tax abatement is on top of a $5 million sponsorship from the Las Vegas Convention and Visitors Authority. So there's a little bit of subsidy here, and there's a little bit of tax credit going on here. It's not just one bit of corporate loopholing. It's two bits of corporate loopholing.
Wow, I did not know this. This is really good, Dom.
This is interesting. This is how big business works. And, if you forgot for a second that the WWE is in the television and film industry, they're in the television and film industry here. Let's see here. According to the WrestleMania application, the company estimated a total budget of $33.7 million. $2.4 million for Nevada stagehands, so they're hiring locally. That's good.
Mm-hmm.
$2.7 million for non-resident below the line labor, which is like not their top of the line people like John Cena, Cody Rhodes. $17 million for non-resident above the line talent. $5.3 million for Nevada expenditures. Another $260,000 for Nevada security workers. So if we do a little mathing here, 7.7, that's roughly $8 million on Nevada expenditures. So Nevada gets a lot of money here for this. The other 26 million goes to non-Nevada stuff. This is just the WWE's people that they have to bring in that they're already on the hook for. But Nevada makes a little bit of money. The WWE pays out roughly $8 million to Nevada sources, meaning Nevada expenditures, whether they be people earning money from them or perhaps rental fees. But since they got $5 million in a sponsorship and $4.2 million in a transferable film tax credit, that's $9.2 million. They spent $8 million on Nevada to get $9.2 million from Nevada. The WWE made more than $1 million by the time all of these corporate dollars changed hands and went back and forth in different forms. Big business here. And like the Nevada Current is saying, lawmakers are mulling a massive expansion of this program. As the WWE, if this is how it's going to work all the time, then everybody should do business in Nevada, because whatever you spend comes back to you plus another 15%.
Wow.
From the state of Nevada.
Wow. That's something.
They were 15% in the black on Nevada expenditures versus what the government of Nevada provided to them.
Huh.
If that's how things are going, then this is the gravy train. Triple H is the man for the job. This is how you play the game.
So basically, Las Vegas is paying them to come. It's not like
the house doesn't always win in Vegas.
right.
What happens in Vegas stays in Stamford, Connecticut.
The house doesn't always win in this situation. Yeah, I love it.
There you go. Some of that $1 million could have been paid to Steve Austin to dress up in a Prime mascot. This costume here, this comes to us from WrestleZone. Logan Paul offered Steve Austin $1 million to wear the Prime bottle costume at WrestleMania 41. Steve Austin opted instead to ride an ATV into the barricade and injure a fan.
Yes.
Could have taken the mill and dressed up in the bottle and surprised Logan Paul at some point and stunnered him and then drank some beer instead of that awful Prime beverage. Steve Austin did not go for this. What say you? Would this have been a fun promotion?
Really, depending on what he had to do, I would say it could easily ruin Steve Austin's name. I don't think the $1 million is worth it because he has such a brand identity himself. Like, he's got his own beer. He still has his own, podcast. Like, he can't be, a Logan Paul friend, You just can't be that.
If he shows up in the Prime bottle, turns on Logan Paul, hits the stunner, throws Prime bottles on top of Logan Paul, and then opens up and guzzles the beer.
That would probably be better.
And especially if it were surprise, who's in the Prime bottle costume? Wait, the Prime bottle is attacking Logan Paul, and it's Steve Austin.
Mm-hmm.
This could have worked.
That would work.
This could have worked. I would have wanted to see this. Just throwing it out there. The little graphic here, obviously not true since Steve Austin did not wear the Prime bottle, but come on, this looks adorable.
With his head out like that.
Right?
It would be insane. It would be insane.
This is fantastic, especially since, if they started doing Steve Austin's intro music with the glass breaking, it's a plastic bottle. It doesn't break.
Right.
The irony would be so cool just for that.
Dom, keep on moving here. I'll be right back.
Keep on moving. Like I said, what was my favorite moment of WrestleMania? I was in the grocery store a couple of days after WrestleMania, and as I am walking up and down the aisles looking for deals, I am singing in my head, say his name, and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry. Ariel Helwani interviewed the TNA World Champion who made a surprise appearance at WrestleMania, Joe Hendry, about when Joe Hendry knew he was going to WrestleMania. Joe Hendry here posted to X here. I found out about WrestleMania a week before. I had to sit on this for a week. I got a text from Triple H saying, can you talk? Triple H says, listen, I'm sure you're aware that Randy needs an opponent. And yeah, that threw me off completely. I was in a state of shock, but I just knew there was a job to be done. It was a huge moment for me, and what an honor to share the ring with Randy Orton. I just wrestled Randy Orton at WrestleMania. What is going on? Great, great moment for Joe Hendry. Randy Orton, though it was a squash match and Randy obviously had to win, Randy did his best to show respect to Joe Hendry here. It's very well deserved. I think this went as well as it possibly could have. If they were only going to get 3.5 minutes in the ring, this was as good an opponent as it could have been and as good as execution as it could have been. It did not feel like Joe Henry got squashed, even though it was a 3.5-minute match. He looked great. Randy even put him over by doing Joe Henry's gimmick post-match. I mean, and that was not done to mock Joe Henry. It was done as a nod to Joe Henry of respect. Like, yeah, man, your stuff is over, and it's over enough where I'm going to do it and get a big cheer. That's respect. That's respect there. What did Joe Henry get out of this besides a WrestleMania moment? He got a debut WWE trading card with Randy Orton. This is it. The RKO out of nowhere. It's now a trading card. This is the front, the back, if you turn it landscape style. TNA World Champion Joe Henry sent the WWE Universe into a frenzy as he answered Randy Orton's open challenge at WrestleMania 41. Holding his own against the Viper, Henry hit his signature spin around before catching an RKO out of nowhere. Emerging victorious at his 20th WrestleMania match, Orton raised Henry's arm in respect before delivering one final RKO. And then doing Henry's signature spin around out of real respect. Just to show you it was real, over on the Tops.com site, there's the card. Yes, you could have purchased this from the Tops. I don't know if it's still on sale. Maybe the 2-day thing was a pre-order. It is on sale there for the low price of $8.99 apparently. Ships in 7 to 10 business days. What a moment. What a still image of photography here. This is a beautiful photograph. Like, really, there are some still image photographs. They're crystal clear, in focus. They are crisp. It's a beautiful image, and it's a perfect moment in time to capture. Some of my favorite sports photographs over the year. Dwight Clark of the San Francisco 49ers, the catch, that touchdown catch from Joe Montana in the NFC Championship game, NFL there in 1981, before the Niners won their first Super Bowl of their 1980s dynasty. The catch was just a perfect photograph. Just stunning. This really is, it's up there with it as far as the image quality being just so beautiful, and the image itself, this moment that it captured. Joe Henry, great match. Randy Orton, great match. And whoever took this photograph, you did one heck of a job. I love this. What a great image that is. So that's our WrestleMania rundown there, starting with some finance news into what could have been there with Logan Paul and Steve Austin, into just Joe Henry riding this for all it's worth. He not only got a WrestleMania moment, he got a beautiful, beautiful Topps trading card out of this. And Randy Orton did too. Good for each of them. Hey, you know what else was this week? How about the NFL draft? And how about the fact that Seth Rollins came out to introduce the Chicago Bears' second-round pick? This was the number 41 pick in the second round. The Chicago Bears selected Ozzie Trapillo, an offensive tackle from Boston College, as Seth Rollins went out there with a Chicago Bears replica WWE Championship belt there to insult the hometown Green Bay fan base. The NFL draft was held in Green Bay, Wisconsin. He's cutting a pretty good heel promo on the Green Bay audience here, which I liked. How is he doing this and not CM Punk? CM Punk is the Chicago guy, and yet Seth Rollins is also a Chicago guy. Is this why they hate each other?
It's part of it, right?
Because they're both Chicago sports guys? I really liked Seth doing the heel promo on the Green Bay fans, talking about how Bears quarterback Caleb Williams is undefeated in Lambeau Field. Announcing the pick. Good for WWE, good for TKO, good for Seth Rollins as a brand, good for whoever does business with Seth Rollins in the NFL. And I think this was good for the NFL too. This was fun. What say you about seeing Seth Rollins out there?
This was a good takeaway. That's a good takeaway. I think that this was a lot of fun. It was very impressive to see Seth Rollins shoot a promo for the Bears because the Bears are so lousy.
Right.
He had to dig really deep.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh, you haven't beat it. We beat you last year one time."
Yes.
Like, that's what he said.
Yes.
After years of just getting pounded by the Packers.
Yes. I remember when I was in high school, my high school's biggest sports rival, my high school managed to beat them in football. For my high school to finish 2-6 that year. So when the two teams met in boys basketball in the following season, people from my high school coordinated signs to hold up from the crowd that said 22-16, which was the score of the football game.
Even though you're 2-6.
The rivals' fans responded with appropriately 2-6 chants for a solid minute. I mean, I got to give the W to both fan bases there. I got to put aside my expected bias there. Yes, calling out the football score was a low blow during the basketball game. And yes, responding with the fact that the team that won the football game went 2-6 is also appropriate. So yes, dig deep for those lousy teams for your heel promos.
Right.
Go for it, Seth Rollins.
Great story.
John Cena, speaking of heel promos, and Idris Elba helped make the 3rd round pick for the New England Patriots here. This was pre-recorded though. This was more like canned heat. I didn't like this one as much. The New England Patriots in the 3rd round wound up taking Kyle Williams, a wide receiver from Washington State. This was more for Cena to sell his movie, not so much to sell the WWE. But hey, it's John Cena. He's involved in a lot.
Yeah, he was out of character.
Right.
He wasn't in the Cena character, so.
He wasn't in the Cena character. I didn't like this one as much, but it's there. John Cena, he's there. WWE, WWE employees, talent, getting in on the NFL stuff. I like when the WWE, they've been covered as legitimate sports, at least sports entertainment, on news outlets like Sports Illustrated, ESPN, Sports Nation for years now. And for the NFL, I mean, remember how the NFL tried to distance themselves from Vince McMahon's WWE-ish XFL because it was too pro wrestling? And like the XFL wound up dying in part because it was too much pro wrestling at the time. And now all these years later, ESPN is not afraid of WWE talent and treating it like go into character, or letting movie stars go into character. Progress, not progress, regress, running in place, but somewhat entertaining. What say you?
They've even done some stuff specifically with AEW as well. The NFL, the NFL had Penta when he was with AEW. He does a Cerro Nero, he does Cerro Nero. So Kittles, which is a George Kittle, went over to the sideline and was hanging out with Penta and doing the Cerro Nero with him
Okay.
while like Monday Night Football was on, and they were talking
Very
about,
good.
oh, he's from AEW. The other thing they did was they did a day in the life of Tony Khan the NFL did,
Mhm.
and it shows his morning was the draft and what he did for the draft and all the preparation. And then at night he goes and he does his show in Jacksonville. And
Mm.
like their show, like behind the scenes when he's talking to the wrestlers and stuff like that. And it was really interesting. But yeah, so I think that they are a bit more open than they were at one point. I mean, it did hurt that the XFL was a direct competitor to the NFL, so they probably weren't too happy about that.
Trying to be, and maybe people weren't ready for that yet, especially since the XFL tried too hard to be football as pro wrestling. They're not doing that now. It's pro wrestling as pro wrestling, football as football, but there's apparently value there for each brand in acknowledging the other. I'll take it up a notch with what you were talking about, Tony Khan. Very impressive. Tony Khan getting interviewed about the Jacksonville Jaguars draft picks last year, wearing a neck brace.
Right.
Selling that he got, what was it, pile driven or DDT'd or brain busted by the
It might have been a pile driver.
the night before.
No, they tombstoned him. Sorry,
They tombstoned him. Tombstone pile drive. Tony Khan wearing the neck brace on NFL programming. Tony Khan. I love it. And the NFL guys and ESPN just like going along with it. Like, what are we going to do? He's wearing a neck brace. What are we going to tell him? Take that thing off?
Right.
Now we're the bad guys. Now we're turning heel.
Now we're turning
pro wrestler when we don't want to. Everybody gets to stay in their lane, but sometimes the roads run right into each other a little bit there. We like it. Speaking of maybe cross-promotion stuff here, NWA, Natalya, WWE legend record holder, still responsible for training a lot of the wrestlers, her and her husband Tyson Kidd, especially a lot of the women wrestlers. Liv Morgan still goes there to work out and to improve, even though she's a 10-year vet, and it shows. Jade Cargill went there to work out, and we're finally getting to see some of that as Jade gets her singles push. Natalya will be challenging Kenzie Page for the NWA World Women's Championship during the Crockett Cup pay-per-view event May 17th. We know WWE has an arrangement with TNA. Unusual to see Natalya on NWA programming here. WWE is working with everybody except AEW at this point. What say you about this matchup? I think it's going to be fun. We know that Natalya can work. We know that she'll sell for people. She'll make the match look good. We also know that she's got a big enough name. She's a former WWE champion. Maybe since she's not regularly on WWE programming at this point, she wins this match and holds NWA gold for a while.
That would be
Has
awesome.
she ever held NWA gold before?
So
what say you about this cross-promotion arrangement and about the matchup?
She did an interview with CVV, Chris Van Vliet.
Yes.
And this is all kind of adding up. In her interview, she's like, I've done everything I can in WWE. So I had a conversation with them, and they're going to let me go to do different things outside of WWE.
Oh, very good.
And she said, I don't want to spoil it on here, but look for some stuff down the road that I'll be doing.
Oh, so good callback by you. So this is not a surprise to you. You're connecting the dots here.
I'm connecting the dots. Yeah. So,
okay.
I'm sure that is along the lines of companies that are cool with them. Like, I don't think she should go to AEW and like that wouldn't fly. But she could do NWA, maybe even TNA, because WWE doesn't own TNA, right?
No.
So
They have
maybe
a working relationship with them, though.
yeah. So maybe she could do some stuff with TNA, and who knows with New Japan? I'm not sure if that's AEW territory or if they'd be willing to
Okay.
work with them. I've seen The Rock wearing New Japan T-shirt like a few weeks ago, so I don't know if he's trying to buy them or what.
Okay. Very good. One last note. Crockett Cup 2025 on May 17th. We'll be at the 2300 Arena in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania.
The old ECW arena.
Yeah, it's going to be somewhat local to us. There you go.
Yeah.
Very good stuff. Good for Natalia, and good callback to you from her Chris Van Vliet interview there.
Mhm.
Tony Khan addresses Bryan Danielson's AEW status. Tony Khan kind of taking a page from Rob Van Dam, who says, don't ever tell people you're retired. Just don't say it. Just leave it up in the air. That way, if you do something down the line, people don't call you a hypocrite. Don't say anything. Tony Khan addressing Bryan Danielson's AEW status. This comes to us from WrestlingNews.co. Khan emphasized Bryan Danielson's continued importance to AEW beyond his wrestling career, as he has been absent from in-ring action due to injury. I still work with Bryan Danielson. He's still a big part of my office. He's not on the show, and he's been injured and maybe retired for good. But he's never said he's done for good. And I hope there's some possibility he will be able to return to wrestling from the injuries and the way he left. But he's still part of AEW. I'm very fortunate to work with Bryan. Bryan Danielson, reported here by Fightful Select, said, I'm very satisfied with my career. I think enough is enough. Responding to it, speaking with Jamal Niaz in a new interview, transcribed here by Fightful, yeah, but my neck is wrecked. So it's not no chance, but it's risk versus reward at this point, right? So I want to be able to live comfortably with my wife and kids. One of the things our society has a real problem with is realizing when enough is enough. And I'm very satisfied with my career. And I think enough is enough.
Wow.
He's got a good point there. It almost becomes counterpoint to what Tony Khan said. On the other hand, they told Sting, you'll never wrestle again. They told Adam Copeland, you'll never wrestle again.
Mm-hmm.
They wrestled again, John.
Well, I got some news for you. The guy loves wrestling, and who knows how true this is, right? Maybe he's milking it a little bit, so it's more surprising when he returns.
Sure.
As far as Bryan Danielson, hey, do whatever you want. Take what you need. If you want to come back for one match or just one every now and then, be a part-timer, that'd be an incredible get. If he wants to be back there, helping the guys out, teaching them how to wrestle, put together matches, putting together storylines, you're not going to get any better than that. So he's in a win-win situation here.
Tony Khan, he's got saying of Bryan Danielson, he's got a great mind for wrestling, and he's somebody that I'm really pleased and blessed came to AEW and got involved with us. He's a great person in and out of the ring, and he's a great leader in AEW. He's a guy who provides value to the company, to his colleagues, to the brand, the promotion, the on-air product that the fans, the audience, the customers of AEW see, the sponsors of AEW benefit from, even if he's never going to lace up the boots and wrestle again and take a bump and deliver a strike of some sort. So it looks like, hey, they seem to agree with you. Whether this is a work or a shoot, what's out there now seems to make some sense to you.
Mm-hmm. He did hand out some fines in AEW.
Okay, Tony Khan did?
No, Bryan Danielson.
Oh.
based on social media conduct.
Is this like shoot stuff where Bryan Danielson has a role in the social media management of the AEW talent?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. So he's and then he actually worked it into his gimmick a little bit when he was like trying to play heel.
okay.
He's like, I'll find you for that, blah blah blah. But that's his real role too, as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cry me a river, real glass.
Cry Me River, Real Glass. Yeah, he probably got a fine for that one.
All right. On to someone else who may be done. And John, I may cry a river over this. Chelsea Green posts on her X account. Goodbye for now, WWE. This is my farewell address as U.S. champion, of course.
Salute the half-mast flag.
Right? The flag is flying at half-mast.
Salute it.
Did Chelsea Green miss anything in the last year and a half that we were watching her on SmackDown? I think everything she was asked to do, she nailed. Even when she wasn't supposed to be like a formidable in-ring wrestler, I thought you talk about Zelina Vega made the most of her time on screen. Chelsea Green made the most of her time on screen every single instance.
Yes.
I was never not sports entertained by Chelsea Green.
I was most certainly sports entertained by Chelsea Green. Everything she did was fire. It was all hilarious. And you know what? When you're doing the comedy gimmick, you got to be careful sometimes. It can come off stupid.
Yes.
And if it's not funny, it just goes flat, right?
Yes.
It's a risk, but it's a risk that she is just hammering out of the park. Goodbye for now. I don't know if she's going to take a break. Presumably. Maybe she's going to try to have a kid. I don't know.
You don't know. Maybe she hits the indie circuit. Her husband is Matt Stryker, right?
Yeah. Oh, I think she probably would be better than the indie circuit. I think she could probably get signed with AEW.
Go right over to AEW, come in as a heel, and just have the crowd go nuts for a heel.
Yeah. She would, as a matter of fact, I think WWE would want to keep her. I don't think that she's going to be done with WWE. Maybe she's just taking a break.
Well, she says just goodbye for now. Not goodbye.
This is my farewell address, and then the flag, and then
the salute. Yes. Flag emoji, salute emoji, flag at half mast with the U.S. Capitol dome in the background there. This is Chelsea Green. Have we seen the last of the secret Hervis? If we did, she went out in style, putting over Zelina Vega in grand fashion. Excellent work. Thank you, Chelsea Green. Thank you, Chelsea. Clap, 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 clap. Thank you, Chelsea. Clap, 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 clap. John, it may be half-mast, but it is never half-assed. It is pathologically frugal. It is unseasonably warm. It is what, my friend?
Cheap heat. All
Those
right.
are your sale items for the week.
Dom, it's about to be an Irish goodbye, my friend. I'm tired.
I am also tired. I got no sleep Tuesday night into Wednesday.
Oh no, what happened?
I was up very late Monday finishing my work on my Substack article. Woke up late Tuesday. Tuesday came around. I just was not tired. Knew I had to get up early for a funeral this morning.
Oh.
Just stayed up.
Okay. Gotcha.
Just stayed up.
Well, sorry to hear that. Yeah.
It's been quite a day. I've made the most of my extra hours.
Someone close.
Funerals, they're funerals, but it was a former pastor of the parish church where I belong, just a town up the road. He was in his 90s, had moved into hospice care, had said his farewells. Cancer returned, and he was just at that point too old to get operations at that point. But he was much beloved, not in pain. You know, when you're 90, you've had a very good life. If you're going to pass away, he passed away humbly, but I don't think he could have too many complaints.
Damn,
it was
that's good to hear.
Wonderful funeral mass, standing room only.
Oh wow,
which I was doing on no sleep.
Oh wow.
But it was wonderful to be there. Wonderful to see everybody who came out, and then we had a luncheon afterwards in the church basement, since the Monsignor was buried in the church cemetery right there across the street.
Oh wow.
So they did the liturgy right there for the funeral. Had mass, walked across the street. I don't even know if they started the hearse, really. right across the street.
Yeah.
Good graveside service. Came back, had lunch. I had a little coffee. I'd been up for 24 hours straight at that point. And here I am all these hours later. So yes, we are both a little tired. It's been good. There may be some interesting Don't Bury the Lead special content coming up soon, right? That may have a connection. WWE isn't the only entity here who may be doing some connections to other wrestling promotions.
Now, watch out, WWE.
Right, we may have a connection with New Jersey Championship Wrestling coming up.
Not only do we have a connection, I was a damn champ.
You were the champ.
And you were the play-by-play guy. So, yeah, we are very connected to NJCW. And we'll be putting out some videos here. It'll be individual wrestlers, very short videos of different wrestlers, and just kind of like the best of. The company is no longer we're no longer wrestling.
Yes.
So I thought it would be a good idea just to kind of get some get some footage of yourself for each of the wrestlers, so they can have it for themselves to be like, oh hey, this is what I did.
It's your video resume. This is it.
Exactly. So it's been it was a fantastic time in my life. It was so much fun, and honestly, I think it gave me some life skills, like performing in front of a lot of people like that, having to get into character, having to like do things in a certain pacing, understand how to do things to the crowd, remember the finishes. Like, I think there was literally life skills that were gained there. So
absolutely, at the very least, you get over your stage fright, which is what indie music did for me.
Yeah. Right. I had such stage fright for sure before I went out there.
Look at us now.
And now look at us. We're blabbling away on these once a week to you guys.
We're the king of D-list pro wrestling live stream YouTube. And the D&D list is for Don't Bury the Lead. Wherever you are watching us on the live stream, find us on YouTube. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel. We are over 1,000 subscribers. We're over 1,100 subscribers. Do I hear 1,200, 1,300, 1,500, 2,000? Help us climb the next mountain. Thank you for your support. Subscribe, like our videos, leave comments for us. We love the community that's developing here. Don't Bury the Lead, a wrestling channel. And John, I did all this just to make sure that even in our weakened states here, we still gave the peeps a proper Italian goodbye.
I love it, Dom. That's as good as it gets, my friend. And I'm all fired up right now. I love it. Maybe that's a short. Well, and Dom, thanks so much for joining. We had a considerable amount of people here. There was not any chats, but they were in and out on YouTube. So thanks for hanging in. And yeah.
There you go. Say our names and we appear. Don't bury the lead.
We'll be back on Saturday night to recap SmackDown. So
hit that bell for notifications. Catch us live next time. Catch us on the channel in the archives.
Have a great rest of your